Hello, beautiful air schoolers. This is a Wednesday session channeled from the Akashic Records, and today we're going to talk about setting intentions, visualizations, all these wonderful things that we can do to manifest and co-create. And even if you've heard me talk about it before, hang in there. I may have new information, new to me, so hopefully new to you as well, that will help us. Before we start, though, let's do a quick little invocation so that we can get, just connected energetically. So let's just close our eyes. Take a nice 3 deep breaths into your body. With each inhale, allow yourself to become present here now for this session. With each exhale, open up your energy field to connect, to allow for this guidance to come through, not into your mind, not into your ego, but straight into your soul. And all of you who are watching this on replay, you are already part of the circle. We welcome you. And so together, let's see ourselves in a circle, coming together in the astral. And let's just see an energetic line going from hand to hand as we stand in circle, from your hand to the next person's hand. And you see the flow of energy. And with this, we give permission to be supported, to be uplifted, to be held. And we shall do the same for others. Love, support, and guidance. And with that, I would like to call in our guides, our loved ones, angel babies, any other benevolent being that wishes to assist in this session. May all the guidance that comes through here today bypass our analytical mind. May it go straight to our souls for all the powerful shifts and transformations to occur. I would like to also invite our gatekeepers to stand circle around us and ensure that we only interact with beings of love and light. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so it is. All right, so let's go back nice and open so we can receive here today. So maybe let's start with why manifesting is a big part of us, our being, why I guess I often talk about this, why you should care. So yes, there's a lot of talk about manifesting happening out there, and I feel like a lot of it is a little bit like the diluted version. A lot of it is talks about the mm, the reason to manifest, so you can have a nice, beautiful home, flashy cars, make millions, be a leader, be, a visionary in your field. And it's very hyped up and very trendy. But manifesting, while it feels like it's a trend or a coachy thing, it actually is something that we as souls do consciously and mostly not consciously. So you manifest whether you believe in it, whether you care, whether you know about it, whether you set the intention or not. We just do it. And so I feel like we might as well understand the premise and do it intentionally. So as souls, we are very powerful. We are momentarily squeezed into this tiny little human body that kind of limits us, but the power still stays with you. So when we are down here, we are still the same level of powerful, but we are in a world of, this was my alarm to make sure I don't forget to go live here. Um, so we are in this world that works a little bit slower because it's dense, it's more dense, it's physical, and yet everything is made up of these subatomic particles, and that is where the clue is because subatomic particles are moving, but they're also space possibility because 99.999% of an atom is empty space. And so this empty space is that possibility. It is where you channel your energy. It is what allows for things to be moldable, flexible. So that is the, I guess, a little bit scientific explanation of how we manifest. The other one is that everything already exists. All exists. All is possible already. There's infinite possibilities. You have infinite timelines. This is why, for me, it's not important to predict your future, but rather give you possibilities if you go this way, if you choose to go that way. Because there's just so many timelines, so many infinite possibilities. And the way we can know this is when you close your eyes and you imagine something or you visualize something, you're imagining something that already exists. And the fact that it lands in your field of awareness and the fact that you can visualize it or see it or imagine it means that it is created somewhere. You're just kind of like latching onto it and pulling it into your awareness. So you're not creating anything new. It's more like a smorgasbord and you're walking up to it and choosing what you want. So, as souls, this is what we are here to do. We are here to gather data through the learnings that we do, but also to help continue, build, and expand the universe through our creations. And I personally prefer to say co-creating with the universe rather than manifesting. Partially because I'm really not loving that word because it became so trendy and so hyped up, and it often gives the wrong um, perception of what it really is. It just skims the surface. But co-creating with the universe means you do your bit and then you step back and you let the universe meet you halfway and take over. And that is, both these parts are vital. They seem simple, but they're very difficult actually. So in today's session, I wanted to focus on the setting the intention, knowing what you want to visualize, because often that is the hardest bit. There's so many teachers, manifesting teachers, so many things that are being said about you have to articulate it this way, you have to do it that way, you have to be positive while you're saying this. That it's almost like we've created all these rules around it, and yet the law of assumption, law of attraction doesn't really have any other rules other than law of attraction attracts. Same attracts same, like attracts like. Law of assumption, simple rule, you assume, and that is what you will experience. What you assume is what you experience. So hopefully in this session, I can simplify things for you so that you don't feel like you're tripping over all these rules and it sounds way harder than it needs to be. And therefore, perhaps in the past you have doubted yourself or given up altogether manifesting. Because believe me, even if you decide today, I'm not interested in manifesting, I don't want to know about it, you will continue to manifest, but it will happen on an unintentional path. So you will be manifesting things that you don't necessarily want because you're wired that way. Your energy doesn't stop creating, it continues to create. But I think it's much nicer if we channel that energy into something intentional and therefore experience something intentional. So the first thing I want to say is setting your intention, like knowing what you want to visualize. And when it comes to that, you can literally visualize anything. You can set the intention that you want to experience anything. You want to be anything. Whether it's maybe you have an autoimmune disease, or some other illness, and you want to be healthier. You want to connect to that healthier version of you that already exists. You just need to connect with it. Perhaps you are alone and you would like to meet your true love. That true love, that person exists already. They will not be created the minute you realize you want a partner, right? That person already exists. It's just that they're fumbling their way through the darkness very much like you. And the moment you set an intention and you get very clear on who it is, it's like the universe plucks that person out of the crowd and sets it on your path. If you want a business, like if you look at older coaches, let's say, or people who are speaking on bigger platforms and are super successful in the area of, your field of expertise, you might think to yourself, well, that's them, but it's never going to happen to me. And that crosses out all the intentions that you may have set in place. So believing that that is available for you as well is part of the intention. Okay, but it is possible. Of course, it's possible. I remember when I first started actually working with a mentor, with a coach, and it wasn't actually a spiritual mentor, but I remember this person charged like $60 a month to be in this space. And I remember thinking, gosh, $60 feels so much, right? Like, how can I spend so much every month, right? Like I was thinking, I think it was 60 or 80. And this was a few years ago. But as I started embracing that that I am affording it, um, it became like my new normal. Do you know what I mean? That expense became my new normal. When we talk about clients, for example, the idea that I would have 2 clients per week was like, oh my gosh, that would be a dream come true, right? But as I started visualizing it and seeing it, I impressed it upon my subconscious. It became my new normal. It was no longer this pie in the sky. It just became this normal. And then, of course, over a period, the two grew into more per week, and that was my new normal. So anything that right now feels like a pie in the sky and you don't even dare to desire it, desire away. Like allow yourself to want it because what right now is a pie in the sky will very, very quickly be your new normal, and you'll be reaching for the next thing. I promise you, nothing is out of your reach, out of your bound. Nothing is too much for you. And here's why. And this is why I was just listening because the Akashic Masters are saying we are fragments of that God energy, right? Like we all carry God's energy within us. And that's your soul, right? That fragment, that's your soul, and you're here. Now, because we all carry a fragment of God or that God energy, all souls are wonderful, beautiful, amazing, and they're cherished and they're loved. No one is left behind. No one, even if you imagine someone who, as a human, is perhaps, a terrible person, we will, judge them and call them terrible, whoever you think of, could be maybe a politician, dictator, a murderer. The soul is still beautiful. The soul is still worth receiving healing and moving into other realms and restoring and coming back and having a new experience. Okay, so no one judges the soul for the experience, the human experience that they have here. So because we are all so wonderful and amazing and just these cherished beings, there's no judgment on who's going to get more and who's going to get less, who's more deserving and who's less deserving. Believe me, we are all worthy and deserving of the very best. And that is exactly what you're meant to be doing here. You're meant to be reaching for those highs, having those big desires, dreaming big, wanting big, because what feels like big pie in the sky to the human really isn't that big to souls, to guides, to God, right? Like the God energy, consciousness. It really isn't. It really isn't. It's it's more like if you take a child to a toy store and they want the biggest teddy, right? The biggest teddy. And to them, it's like, oh my God, I want the biggest one. If I get to choose, I'm going to pick the biggest teddy bear that's there. To you, it's not, it doesn't, essentially, if you have the money, like let's say you have the money, right? Essentially, it doesn't matter. The bigger one, the smaller one, you just want them to be happy, right? And if that makes them happy, you're like, wow, I want to give it to you, right? I want to give you that biggest one, because why would I care whether you get the big one or the small one? To me, it's all the same because I don't care about the teddy bear. I'm not going to play with it, that kind of, yeah. So the universe doesn't really mind you having big, ridiculous, over the top dreams. All of these words are man-made by the ego. So when you think about your vision, the trick is not, am I allowed to dream this big? Am I allowed to have this big desire? The trick is actually to know what exactly you want and to allow yourself to have that desire. So we're going to go on a little process and I'm going to show you how to create your vision, and then I'm going to show you a quick and easy process that you can do daily to reaffirm it. So remember, like law of assumption, and that's out of all the laws of attraction, of assumption, like all the universal laws, law of assumption resonates with me the most. Does it matter which one you choose? No, it doesn't. But law of attraction, especially the way it has been spoken about on the forefront, often makes people worry that what if I had a bad day and I slipped out of that high vibrational state? Am I moving two steps back now? What if, I didn't, I didn't like this, or I used those words, or I didn't have the affirmations? There's like all these rules, and people get really conflicted about it and really worried that they're not maintaining that high vibration and therefore they're attracting bad things. Whereas law of assumption grounds these practices for me so much that I understand and see how something so intangible can be tangible in this world. So basically, the first thing you want to do is think about, what do you need right now? Okay, what do you want? Like, is your life perfect right now? And when you look at your life and you feel like, yeah, it's perfect, but I wish that I had more clients in my business and I was making more money. Or, yes, it's perfect. I love being single. I love my friends. I love having my own routine, but I also wish I had someone else to love and someone else who would love me. Or perhaps you're like, yes, my life feels good, feels okay, but I wish I was healthier. I wish I was, fitter, or I wish I could run faster, and not have debilitating pain in my knee. Whatever it is, what I would do first is, and this is a part where if you have pen and paper with you, you can write along, and we'll do this process together. But write down your desires. Okay, don't hold back. Don't feel like you have to limit yourself to one or three. Just write down all your desires, just the ones that are important to you right now. And I promise you, in a few months, either you will go through your list and you'll realize this particular desire no longer interests me, it's no longer important to me, or you will realize it has already happened and you're ready for the next level because now this desire has become your new normal. So write down, take a few moments and just write down all the things that you want. Okay, just write them down. Don't worry about any wording, anything if this is okay. Just write down. Imagine you're writing a letter to Santa. Okay, and now what I want you to do is when you look at your desires, when you look at your desires, notice what, and you might need a little bit more time with this one, but notice what are the energies behind each desire. So, for example, if you want your business to have more clients, be thriving, maybe you want to be booked out, maybe you want more money, like a certain amount of money coming in, that might be your desire. But when we look at the energy behind it is that perhaps you want more freedom. You want to be able to spend more time with family. You want to be able to say yes and buy the things that you want without worrying about, can I afford it? Perhaps you want to feel acknowledged and accomplished, and that's why you want your business to be thriving, right? Because that means if you have a waiting list, it means people are coming to you because they value what you have to offer. So have a look at your list that you've just written and think about what are the energies behind each one. Now, for that, what I like to do is I actually like to close my eyes and see myself. So if, let's say, my desire was, let's say I wanted, I don't know, a bigger house. I will try to visualize, why do I want a bigger house? What does a bigger house mean? Does it mean more space? Does it mean more comfort? Does it mean that I have my own office? Does it mean that I have a beautiful big paddock and I've got animals? And therefore, I can wake up in the morning, I can see a beautiful sunrise, I have peace, I have quiet. So just take a moment and write down as much as you feel for each one. So when you're creating your vision, while it might feel sometimes confusing or things perhaps overlap and you're like, well, I kind of want more money, but I really want more money from my business, but I don't know what business yet. Like if you feel a little bit lost and confused, tap into how do you want to feel? And this is where a Monday meditation comes in handy. So if you haven't done it yet and you are in this space of confusion, please go and do that meditation because I feel like it'll help you. Because in that meditation, you focus on one ideal day. And not only will you be energetically connecting, and the energy will already start to reconstruct your universe in the whole grid, but also it will bring you a little bit of clarity, because if you can imagine one perfect day, and if that one day, oh, cute, that's an amazing rotation. That's thank you. It brings a lot of clarity, I think. Because if you can focus on one day and think, okay, if I could relive this day over and over again, like if it was Groundhog Day, um, what would I want this one day to feel like, to look like? You will have so many clues as to what is important to you, how you want to feel, and that will help you to create the vision for it. So go and do that meditation if you haven't. But if you have, and let's say we have worked now through this and we've identified the energies behind it. Now that's important, because when you know the energies behind it, we can do the next part. Because remember, the universe, while we set an intention and this activates your higher self, that God energy, um, the universe needs your energy to work with it. It needs your energy, and it goes through your soul and it goes through your heart. So how do you generate that energy of what you desire? So let's say now in your list that you have created with your desires, you have identified freedom, flexibility, right? You're not worried, right? Because having maybe money or having a fulfilling business gives you that peace of mind that everything is okay. You don't have to worry about anything. And you have the freedom. How do we generate that feeling of freedom? And this is where it's good to think about a memory, perhaps. Think about a memory. When did you feel really, truly free? Now, for me, for example, it takes me back to when I was 10, and I remember summer, it was summer, and I look at the photos now and the things I wore as a 10-year-old. I mean, I don't know how my parents let me out of the house, but as a 10-year-old, I loved it. I felt so free. I remember I could run. I wasn't thinking about, oh, am I running funny? Are people watching me? I was completely oblivious to it. I remember we were, I think, visiting someone, and they lived in these apartments, and almost on every balcony people were playing the latest summer tunes, those one-hit wonders. And it was just a beautiful, free time for me, like where I just felt so carefree. Not to mention that I could spend a whole day just playing outside with my friend, not a care in the world. So when I recall that memory, immediately my energy starts to change. My energy changes, like I can feel it, like as if it's happening now. Because remember, your mind doesn't know what is real, what has happened already, what is still happening. So when you recall that memory, it acts and it creates sensations in your body and emotions, like as if this was still happening to you. So when you think about that, you're generating already that idea. And this is what we need before we move on to the next part, which is the visualization. So you visualize, you bring up a memory. And when you bring up that memory, it doesn't have to be long, just a short one even. But as soon as you start to feel that, that's when you know, okay, I am primed, I'm ready to visualize. And when you visualize, and this is we did this at our meditation where we were doing, it was called stats, and that's the one that we did before sleep. You can do it during the day, absolutely you can, but you want to get yourself into a nice, relaxed place. And this is where visualizing a memory is going to help you, because it already kickstarts that energy. So we've done the memory, we started to feel something in our body, right? We started to feel that feeling of freedom. Now, the next part is you create a little vision, a visualization, a little scene. Again, it doesn't have to be long, but here is the one and only rule for it. When you create this, create it from this has already happened. So let's say I want to be a really successful psychic. I am maybe just a baby practicing one, but I want to do this for a living and I want it to come easy and effortless to me. I want to be helping people. So in my visualization, I don't want to imagine me trying and being good maybe and having my first session. I don't want to see that. What I want to see is the end result of it already. So I might visualize myself perhaps walking down the street in the morning, grabbing my coffee, and I meet people along the way, and they're all coming up to me, telling me how amazing their session was, how grateful they are, how how much wisdom I brought through for them, or guidance, or their loved ones, or how accurate that was, or how I helped them. And you want to go over the top, you want to exaggerate, don't just do mediocre. Because if you do mediocre, you're not going to be experiencing that energy in your body. Remember, it doesn't matter what you think, it doesn't matter what you say. What matters is the energy that you're generating because we're energetic beings. So go over the top, get yourself excited. So when you create your vision and you're seeing yourself already done, and this could be maybe you sitting having a drink with a friend and you're telling her um, how you've had this amazing week and you've had the amazing sessions, and all of a sudden you were just booked out and people were telling their friends, and now you look at your calendar and you're showing her and every day is booked out, right? Or the days that you want. Um, you can also, if you remember the session that we did where I showed you the practice, I remember when. During your visualization, you can incorporate that as well. So, for example, I might be sitting perhaps at a resort on a recliner, sipping on my cocktail, relaxing, and I'm thinking, I remember when I struggled to get my business going, and I hoped and wished that one day I'm going to have all this, and now I am here having a holiday, relaxing, and I glance at my phone, another booking, and I don't have to worry because someone is taking care of it. Like I am just here to relax now. Or I can visualize, like, remember when I was so scared to start my business, and now here I am lying on this beautiful recliner in this beautiful place, sipping on a cocktail, feeling completely at ease. And I have this beautiful business that allows me to travel and, relax. So you want to see yourself at the end, and it's like you're looking back, or you're telling someone this is what it is, and you can incorporate the I remember when. Now, the I remember when is powerful because it bypasses your analytical mind. Because remember, again, your mind doesn't know that this didn't happen. So when you say, I remember when, it's like your mind doesn't block it, doesn't tell you, yeah, right, this will never happen, because you're setting up a memory and your mind doesn't know that it hasn't happened. But I think out of all this, so you visualize this for a few minutes over and over and just keep replaying the same simple scene, same simple scene. Now, here's the thing. If you're doing this before sleep, do it till you fall asleep. If you're doing this during the day, do it for like 10, 15 minutes. I mean, however much time you have, it's going to be perfect. But if you want things to move faster, spend a little bit more time, because the 10, 15 minutes allows your energy to really be generating and sending out that signal. Now, remember, everything is energy. The universe responds to your energetic field. And if you can hold this beautiful vibration for 10, 15 minutes, you are collapsing time. This is what they talk about when they say collapsing time. Things will start to move faster. So, the most important thing that we start with, though, is our intention. So before we go into the visualization, before you do anything, when you know your desires, you want to say this: my higher self, please be with me. It activates it. It means your higher self, your soul is listening now, right? My higher self, please be with me. And then You say, I am so successful in my business, I have a waiting list. Or I am an accomplished medium that can bring through evidential evidence of loved ones easy and effortlessly. Or I make $10,000 a month easy and effortlessly. Right? So we say the statement in the present, always in the present, because you are meant to be in the present moment. We're always in the present moment. Everything is created in the present moment from the present moment, not from the past, not from the future, from the present moment. And when you're working with law of assumption, you assume it. You don't ask, you don't beg, you don't hope. You say, this is how it is. I claim it. And this is really important because as humans, we have been taught to be small and humble. Don't ask for too much because there won't be enough for others. But the universe says, no, there is enough for everyone. And the more you want and the more you create, the more the universe expands. Because what you're talking about is, and this is where, when you look at billionaires, millionaires, the reason they have what they have is because they don't sit in the energy of, am I allowed to have this? Am I taking away from someone? Am I being too greedy? Could this happen to someone like me? I'm from, a poor family. No, they claim it. They have, the only difference is they're working in their ego, okay? Other elements go into play with that, which you and I won't be affected in. Those of you who do light language and connect to higher beings, such as Syrians and Mintakians and all these wonderful star beings, you would have come across possibly or heard of draconians and what are the other ones? Draconians, can't remember the other ones at this stage, but anyway, they are the darker soul groups, I guess, who, because you have to have light and dark, but the darker soul groups that work with weak ones or the ones that want to, you know how they say sell your soul to the devil. So a lot of trade happens that way. But anyway, this is neither here nor there, but I'm just saying you don't have to worry about that. But the reason why the big people have what they have is because they're not afraid to ask for it. They ask and they claim it. Now, you and I have pure intentions. We know that if we ask for more resources, if we ask for more money, if we ask for a successful business, it's not because we want world domination and power, but rather because we want our kids to have after school activities, or we want to go on a family holiday, or we want to help others, right? If you're making good money, when I make good money, when I make good money, I know that I am at ease and I can give back because I'm no longer sitting and worried, how am I going to make ends meet? Right? The reason we can give to charity is because we feel at ease and content that there is enough and we want to give back. So don't be afraid to ask for more. Set the intention and claim it. My higher self, please be with me. And this is where they wake up, no longer listening to the mind. Your higher self is listening. And then you say, I am a great medium that gets evidence easy and effortlessly. I am with the love of my life who loves me and supports me. I am a successful business owner, or I have a business that thrives, that has a wait list, right? I am a nomadic traveler who works and travels. Whatever you want to do, but you say it, you claim it like as if this has already happened. That's really how unapologetically you have to be. Do not be afraid that it will drag you into the dark side. Like I said, there's too much light within you for that to happen. Okay. And the fact that you're worried about it in the first place says that this will never happen to you because you're worried. You know this is a possibility in the world. You know this isn't for you. and therefore you will be on the right side in the light, but you're still entitled to get your resources. Do we have any questions? Feeling good? Okay, so we'll keep going. And of course, if you're watching this on replay and you have any questions, please let me know. Now, this month, and this is why we're doing this month is quite powerful. The veil is thinning. This is why so many people feel like they want to let go of the old, they want to embrace the new, they want to do New Year's resolutions, right? Because they're feeling these energies. You and I will use these energies in a more focused way. We're going to really get very clear on what we want, on what we desire. And you're going to write it down, and then you're going to identify the energies behind it, the feelings, the emotions. And then you're going to state it, just like I just told you, asking the higher self and then telling it, this is who I am, this is what I have, this is what I do. Then you're going to create or recall a memory if you find it hard to connect to those emotions that you have just identified. Recall things have happened in your life. Like if you want to be a millionaire, right? And you're like, well, I've never been a millionaire. How do I know what a millionaire feels? Well, look at the energies behind that desire. It's what? Freedom, peace of mind, knowing that you can go into perhaps lush places, right? You can afford eating out at beautiful restaurants. You can afford to get like the top end manicures and facials. You can buy stuff without looking at a price tag. Like that already, just telling you this makes me feel like, oh, freedom, right? That is what it is. It's freedom. So even though you may not have ever been a millionaire and therefore not know what that feels like, but you have in your life experienced moments where perhaps you were somewhere really special and how that place made you feel. Perhaps someone made you feel really special. Maybe it was your wedding day when everyone was fussing over you. You were the center of attention. Everything was just beautiful and divine. You were just in awe. Maybe, like I said, there's a memory somewhere in your childhood where you felt that sense of freedom. It doesn't have to be connected to you being a millionaire, but just recall that emotion and do it for a few seconds till you feel it in your body. Then you use your scenario that you've created and you visualize that. Do it longer during the day, in the evening, before bed. Just do it till you fall asleep over and over. When you finish the scene, start again, start again, start again. Perhaps each time amplifying it. Now, one question that I always get from my private clients is, can I work on multiple intentions at the same time? So you may have several intentions. You may want to manifest true love, have a healthier, leaner body, have a successful new business, right? You can work on all of them. However, if you're new to this, if you're just wrapping your head around it to ease the overwhelm, I would focus on one thing for 1 week. Okay, so let's say right now you're going to focus on, I don't know, your health. So you're just going to visualize your health for the week. In the next week, you might want to visualize love or add love to it if you feel confident. Ultimately, there's no guidelines, there's no rules. You could divide your day into 3 separate manifestations and work on all 3. Really, all it boils down to is how much time you have, because you want to do this right. You don't want to just kind of hip and scop and then kind of be like it's too hard, right? So if you have the time to visualize all 3, do all 3. What I actually say often to someone who hasn't really experienced the power of law of assumption and this co-creation process, try something just for fun, something little, something like maybe a free coffee or a bunch of flowers or finding an extra or making an extra $50, $100 this week. Something that you don't expect, but you go like, yeah, that could happen. That could happen in the next week. Try that and just play. Just you want to be in that playful state anyway. So just try and see what happens. Because very much like I showed you the vortex of belief, of connecting with spirit. I showed it to you, I think, when we were talking about connecting with your guides, or when we were talking about connecting to the Akashic records. That first you have to be open, you have to be curious. And then you do the thing. So you say, okay, let me manifest something little. And then when it happens, it kind of solidifies that belief a little bit more. So next time you will be open to manifest something even bigger because you already have that proof within yourself that it worked. So try something little perhaps. But you definitely can work on multiple. The only reasons I wouldn't is if you get overwhelmed, confused, or if you don't have the time, then start with something small. I remember when I was preparing for this session, Spirit has actually shown me or recalled a memory from my childhood again to share with you. Because before Secret came out, before I knew anything about manifesting, there was a moment where in my teens, I was manifesting coming here, coming to Australia. I think I've shared this story before, but I feel like the important part is I didn't know anything about any rules or any manifesting or any laws, but I had this desire that I wanted so badly to be here in Australia. And I remember I was watching any documentary on Australia, and all these documentaries were probably somewhere from Queensland because all it was beaches, white sands, and that's how I imagine all of Australia is. So I was watching them, I was infusing the information, I was infusing my mind with that information. And then I couldn't wait to go to bed so I could lie there and visualize myself coming here. And I was so specific. I was like, the moment the plane lands, we get out, our family is here, welcoming us. And then I open the doors and I'm straight at the beach, right? Like that's how I visualized it. So even though when it happened, obviously it's a little bit different. There were no palms in Melbourne, really, no white sandy beaches. We were driving through suburbs and it wasn't particularly warm. Um, I manifested it, but you know what was really interesting? Simultaneously to this, where was what was happening was my parents worrying about will it happen, will it not happen, worrying about saving up the money because you had to have money to set up here, you had to have money for your visas, and you had to have money for the multiple medical tests that you had to do. As a kid, I was completely oblivious to it. Like I heard it in the background and I heard the conversations of it's happening, it's not happening. But I didn't let that influence me. I didn't let it influence me. Then I was going to school and I was being bullied at that school, so I didn't have a great time. And even then, I didn't let it influence me. I didn't let the fact that we had to do these big exams and that exam will determine what school you will get into. And if you don't do well, you will end up basically at the wrong school and your future will be stuck. You know, like my parents were worried about that as well because as an adult, they being practical, they didn't know what if it doesn't work out? What if we don't end up going to Australia and Kasia has to go to that next school, that middle school, high school, and it has to be a good one. So then she has to, so that then she can go to university, right? So they were worried about this. In my mind, I didn't care because I was already here. I wasn't worried about anything. I wasn't worried about the bullies so much. I wasn't worried about not passing the test. I couldn't care less because I was like, I won't be here for this. Like I had this conviction, like I won't be here for this. So I had to do the test. I did get bad results. Lucky for me, another school opened. So we were still here for me to go to that new school. And this is another funny thing that just manifested. A random school opened that needed students, so they didn't care about what your grades were, so they were just taking you in, right? doesn't seem logical. But anyway, I was there for maybe 2, 3 weeks, and then we were already departing. And my parents at that stage knew already we were coming here, and they still made me go through the test and still made me go to that school. Right. So I was just like, yep, I'll do it. I don't care. I don't care because I'm already here. With my mind, I was already here. So the reason I'm telling you this is because when you set your intention and you start visualizing things, you will enter this bridge of events, which I will talk about more next month. But you enter this bridge, and so seemingly things might start to happen that feel like it's not going too well. And you seem to be moving backwards away from your desire rather than towards it. And this is where you have to have the faith and trust that it is all part of it. Okay. Just yesterday, I had a client who has been visualizing. Um, she's a fantastic, phenomenal teacher, and she was visualizing a different way of teaching, she felt a little bit burnt out at this school, and she was visualizing. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, she gets fired from her job. Okay, she gets fired from her job. She has to finish the year and then that's it. Now, because we were working together, and I did have to remind her, you set the intention that you are ready for something new. The universe knew you are not going to quit this job. You're going to hold on to it because it's safety and security. So it did the job for you. It put things in place to fire you so that now you are open to new things. And this is something that might happen for you, where you go like, hang on a minute, now I've lost everything, or I've lost the one thing that was my safety. I needed this thing. But the universe goes, no, you didn't. That was a distraction. So trust, once when you set the intention and you enter that bridge of events, trust the process. Trust the process. Keep visualizing. Just ignore what's happening and just keep visualizing. If you lose the lease on something, if all of a sudden perhaps you know, I don't know, you get the flu and you can't work for a couple of weeks. And you think, well, how is that going to make me now booked out? I can't work. Trust the process. Maybe you are not needed in the process of becoming booked out. And the universe says, you rest, you take care of yourself, stay in bed. We will take care of it. We will help you get booked out. We don't need you for that. So trust the process. The moment you start questioning and doubting it, and you choose to stay in those low vibrational energies, that's when you are backtracking because all of a sudden your energy has changed and it's no longer tuned into that desire, but rather it's tuned in to the lack, the fear, the I don't know what's happening. Okay? All of a sudden, it is setting you back. So when you realize, hang on a minute, I am spiraling down, I need to get myself up, bring your visualization up. Ignore circumstances. This is why I shared with you the story. As a kid, even though I was oblivious to it, it was happening. And there were things happening at school. And, like I was still part of this, let's say, negative experience for me, but I ignored it. And as much as a kid, I had more time. Every moment that I could, I was visualizing where I want to be. And I was seeing myself already there. Now, the funny thing is, I remember I told you this happened before The Secret. This happened before I knew anything about law of assumption. I just knew how to do it because kids are like that. They're very smart. If you ask them, what do you want from Santa or what do you want to put on your vision board? They don't go like, well, what am I allowed? Is this okay? They just go, I want this, I want this, I want this, right? My daughter, when she was 7, whoever asked her, what do you want to be when you grow up? She said, I want to be a mermaid. She didn't go like, well, is that possible? Can I be a mermaid? No, she wanted to be a mermaid. That was it. She wanted to be a mermaid. That's how kids are. And this is what we have now a little bit forgotten, but we're bringing it back. that innocence, that wanting, that, that playfulness, that everything's available to us. The universe literally says, okay, come to the table and choose what you want. And you get to choose. And when you choose, take it, claim it. Do we have any questions? No. So, beautiful ones. I want to leave you with that. I hope this was a good little nugget. Now, we have next week our last transmission. The last transmission is a powerful session that not only gives us a little bit of like channeled information that we need to know as we cross over into the next year, but also it will do its energy work. Okay, it's a little bit like Lionsgate, but for the last part of the year. So that's next Wednesday. I think it's next Wednesday. I think it is. In the meantime, draft your desires, look at the energy behind it, because that is the key. Set your intention like it's done, and then create your visualization. And that will help you. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them below this video. Ask. All right, beautiful ones. So if there's no more questions or no questions, I will love you and leave you with this. I feel like we are complete. So have a beautiful night. Thank you for being here. Bye.